Oh, here we go.
Welcome to the South's Got Something to Say, the third episode. I'm Jonathan Adams with my colleague, Kelsey Kramer. Kelsey, how are we living this fine evening in the South?
We are living. This morning felt like a fall day, and then it got really hot. So we got 2 seasons in one day in June. Pretty exciting. Felt like football season's right around the corner.
Yes, we're getting there. We're so close that we can almost smell the overpriced concession food and all those good things that are coming our way. It's going to be so awesome to go in those stadiums fully. It seems like everything's going to be fully packed, and I think there's going to be some pent-up demand in terms of tickets, which is I know what you guys want to talk about here, but I'm just looking forward to that first football game full of like packed stadiums now that we're seeing like the NBA playoffs and all these other sports with fans in the stands. So hopefully you guys are also looking forward to that.
Can't wait to spend $15 on a Bud Light.
Just take all of our money.
Extra tall boy, so it's okay.
Kelsey, I did have an epiphany last night, though, and hopefully our viewers will indulge me in this because I want to get everyone's feedback on this. What I think is really, this is like a tent revival moment here that we're happening in the South. Everyone knows tent revivals, so I was watching the lovely Hawks last night here in the ATL. Our pride and joy now that everyone is now on the bandwagon of the Atlanta Hawks, lifelong fans for the last 2 months. But something amazing happened that maybe you saw. This is going to be all connected to football, so stay with me, folks. But something amazing happened. I witnessed, I think it was in the third quarter, Trae Young literally danced before he actually shot. And I was thinking, like, there's just so many ways that could have gone bad. But then after the game, it hit me. Yes, I see you, Samuel. I see nice comments. It hit me that this was such a different vibe. So I moved to Atlanta in 2017. And since I've moved here, I just feel like there's so much pessimism around Atlanta sports. And I think what is interesting, and I'm curious to get your feedback as a lifelong Falcons fan, but the Hawks team plays with such a different vibe. And I definitely think that the Falcons could learn a lot from this team in the sense that, and particularly, I just feel like Falcons fans have been beaten down so much. So I wanted this to be very therapeutic for you guys, because I feel like, if nothing else, the Hawks team is playing with like this kind of swagger that we haven't seen before in the city in a long time. And I saw the same thing the last couple of years with the Braves, with Acuna and Ozzie and those guys. And Atlanta United didn't even have any sort of like weird growing pains. They just came into the MLS and won like a title. So the only team left in the city of Atlanta to get their act together is the Falcons. And so I'm just watching this fun run that however the Hawks end it. But I just feel like this woe is me pessimism in Atlanta over the sports team. I just don't think it's fair anymore. I think we need Trey TL is trying to lead us to the altar of optimism. And I think it's time the Falcons fans, and the Bucs fans just did this last year, so we'll get to you guys in just a minute, but you guys just experienced this on your little boat parade that we all witnessed the epic videos of. But am I off base here, Kelsey? Am I making too much out of a shimmy before a shot?
No, not at all. I think between them and United and the Braves, like the Falcons are the ones that need to get it together, and this is going to be their year. We have our new coach in Arthur Smith, so that's what the Hawks did. Who'd they fire? Because I honestly just jumped on the bandwagon.
No, it's fine. Lloyd Pierce.
Okay, so now.
Could you have a worse firing than you get fired and literally the team becomes the best team in the NBA? Is there a worse? It's like I don't know. It's like if you broke up with someone and then Jennifer Aniston is like the next. I don't know. Like I don't know what the equivalent is, or Brad Pitt. Like the rebound is Brad Pitt or Jennifer Aniston.
It's
just to be like ruin your year.
He's probably turned into an alcoholic by now. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway,
possible.
So they have their new coach in Nate McMillan.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. And then they have Trae Young. Looks like he's on a whole new level. And their defense. So carry that over to the Falcons, we might need Nate McMillan on the Falcons to take over. But no, we have Arthur Smith now. We have Arthur
Right.
Smith, and then we have our X Factor and Calvin Ridley or Kyle Pitts. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think that's up in the air. I don't know who's going to contribute more, Kyle Pitts or Calvin Ridley. That'll be interesting to see. And then our defense, well, we're going to have to throw in a different number 3 factor there. Maybe our fans can help with that one because this Hawks team they're on fire, and I feel like the fan base has been part of the reason for their excitement, their adrenaline, their fire. So, but yeah, I totally see a correlation there. When one team is on a run like that, that excites the city, that gets more fans involved, more people involved, and just lights that fire to hopefully rally them up and actually want to win when there's that big change. So.
Yeah, and I was even thinking, we've talked for last couple of weeks. I won't mention the J word because we've talked about that so often. He used to wear number 11 in Atlanta, but we won't. We talked about that so many shows, so I'm going to try to not mention him this show. But we've talked just about the impact of some of these guys leaving. And I wonder if there isn't an addition by subtraction in the sense that obviously Matt Ryan remembers the Super Bowl because he played in it and was part of that run. But we're getting to the point in the Falcons franchise where the majority of the roster doesn't have any recollection of that Super Bowl except probably watching it, Mm-hmm. So I wonder if maybe I don't necessarily see where the Falcons turnaround happens from a roster standpoint, but I do wonder if there isn't something to like this new team where we get rid of Julio and where the Falcons get rid of Julio, they get rid of Gurley, who are name brands, and maybe a guy like Mike Davis and Pitts and some of these guys that aren't household names yet. Maybe there's something to that. Maybe that's how this sort of transformation happens. I don't know. Maybe that's the path forward.
It's a fresh start. It's a rebirth, and I don't want to say it's a rebuild because we still have Matt Ryan, and people will talk dirt on Matt Ryan, but he's one of the best that is out there still. So, and then you throw the weapons around him, and that makes him even 10 times better. Like, yeah, he was better with not Todd Gurley. The J word. He was better with the J word as one of his targets, but I feel like everyone says everything happens for a reason, and Kyle Pitts was our reason. Like, yeah, we got rid of the J word, and now we have Ridley and Kyle Pitts, and even Russell Gage. And then we have a backfield that we're hopefully going to get back this season, which we haven't seen probably since Freeman in his best year yet, which was Super Bowl run. So that is an upside there. But Falcons are definitely the worst sports team in Atlanta right now.
But it's interesting because this is definitely still, a Falcons town. And I think this is just my opinion, and someone that's lived here longer could maybe agree or disagree. I think Falcons and Braves are still in the pecking order, even though United success, even though the Hawks are making their run. Obviously, that can change if the Hawks look like they're on the way to building a crazy dynasty with all these young players. But Falcons fans are the city is desperate for the success that has kind of been fleeting. And so I think they're just looking for a reason to kind of jump on board. I want to go back to my man Brandon here. It's like killer six pack. If I looked like Brandon, I would probably do the shirt just like the show just like that. So kudos to him. The pandemic happened and he just pushed through. So respect. I'm curious of Brandon and other people that were in the city. What was the vibe of the city when the Falcons under that Michael Vick? Because it was an exciting team. I think that's the thing with the Hawks, right? It's not just like they're good, but they're like beating people and they're like getting stuff on their furniture. Like they're going into Madison Square Garden and like dancing in the midcourt. They're doing it in a way that kind of fits the city instead of like the woe is me vibe that we get a lot of times from like, if you ever listen to, Atlanta sports radio or like, every fan base has that sort of like kind of like mentality that they're they've had it the worst. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That not that they had it the worst, that luck is not on their side. And I think that the Hawks and the Braves and some of the other teams are proving that. And the Bucs just proved this a year ago with their run to the Super Bowl, because the Bucs hadn't made the playoffs in like more than a decade. So I don't know. It's just interesting to think about just what the Falcons can learn from these teams that they've seen have success. That seems like it's success overnight, but it's not overnight success, because the Hawks were very bad for quite a while. And the Bucs were not bad, but they were, I would say, mediocre without Brady and a couple of the other additions that they made last offseason.
But we got everyone's concerned about this immediate turnaround, and we got rid of Dan Quinn after going 0-5. And I love Dan Quinn, but after going 0-5 to start the season, and then Raheem Morris jumps in, and we saw the Falcons, both sides of the ball, at least spike a little bit, and that's an upside there. So now we have Arthur Smith, who was amazing with the Titans, and yeah, he had Derrick Henry and helped out with Ryan Tannehill, but I think we have better weapons than that. With the Falcons, granted, our running back's not going to be Derrick Henry, but it might be and Javian Hawkins, which is a guy to keep your eye on. But you look at the Titans, and they went from when Smith took over. I get Arthur Smith and Arthur Blank mixed up, because they're both Arthur.
I mean, they're kind of the same person. Have we ever seen him in the same room? No.
That's why you're hired.
Owner coach, the new owner coach.
Yeah.
The good Netflix documentary.
They went from ranked 25th in total offense to 12th, and that's huge. That's a huge spike for them. And I'm excited to see what Arthur Smith can do with the Falcons, especially since he has like 5 different weapons on offense. And our offensive line is going to be where it really plays out, but they're going to play the 5 best players. And who knows who that will be at the end of the training camp, but I think I trust their mentality, where they're going, more than with Dan Quinn still as head coach. So I think we're going to see we probably won't see a whole 360, but we'll see at least a 180. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm assuming Gabriel here. I'm assuming he's speaking from a Falcons perspective, but I think this is my point, Gabriel, is that there's not anything to jinx. There's not a boogeyman that's like cursed Atlanta that they can't win. And we're seeing with some of these younger guys that have like the Braves guys, those guys don't know anything about the like curse of the coming up, second in the 90s and all that stuff, that the Braves should have won more titles than they did. The Hawks team, I mean, they don't have any reason to like know about like the Falcons inner workings. And my guess is that the majority of the current Falcons players don't think that way in terms of like the 28-3 stuff that kind of permeates the like memes and across like fandom in Atlanta. So all I'm here to say is I don't think that there's anything to jinx. Like that is the mentality in Atlanta, where like you see Trey shimmy and you're like, no, don't screw this up because you're about to airball it. And he's just like, no, I'm going to talk my talk, and we're going to win. And we're going to keep doing it. And I'm going to tell you how we're going to keep doing it. And I think that the Falcons need to borrow some of that sort of thing and like put the meekness away. Like say it with your chest, Falcons. Let's go.
Yeah, and we see our Falcons guys rooting these Hawks guys on. Like they're the biggest fans on the planet, and which is so cool because we haven't seen that. We saw it a little bit last year, but this is just – I can't say the term because it's inappropriate, but it's awesome. We want to see that energy from the Falcons players when they're on the field, and then from the fans, and then from the Hawks players. Because when that energy bounces off from athlete to athlete, I feel like it's more like, all right, this show's bigger now. Or I don't know. It's definitely cooler. It's a cooler vibe in Atlanta for sure.
And Kelsey, do you know who has that same energy that we're seeing from Trae Young? This is what we call in the business a segue.
Who?
Tom Brady.
Of course.
Seamless transition, guys. Who's having more fun than Tom Brady, though?
Nobody.
And to piggyback off of our conversation, when I was interviewing Levante David a few months ago, he just talked about that there being a different vibe with the team because the majority of the Bucs roster was the same. And it was a good roster, but there was that something different that Brady brought to the Bucs that was missing before that made them not just a playoff team, but a Super Bowl champion. And so it's interesting to see maybe for the Falcons, that could be Arthur Smith. Maybe it's the new front office. Maybe it's, some of the rookies. Like it could be like all of the above, but there's more to, and we saw this, like when Brady was with the Patriots, that he ended on like a down, like got bounced from the playoffs, and it was bad. And everyone was saying like, oh, maybe it's time for the Patriots to move on from Brady. Maybe he's the problem. All this stuff, right? And he just moved down south like every other middle-aged American does. Goes from the cold winters, goes to the Florida sunshine, and all of a sudden now, where he's like trolling Aaron Rodgers every day, like calling out random quarterbacks on LeBron James' HBO show. And there's a different mentality in Tampa, and hopefully some of the fans can chime in here that live in the greater Tampa area. Tampa's confusing. You got Tampa, you got St. Pete, you got this whole area, and if you say it a certain way, people get really frustrated. I know this because I'm a Florida native, so. But the area. What's that?
How do you
say? No. I'm just saying, if you say, some people get angry if you say Tampa Bay instead of Tampa, not because Tampa Bay is in the name, but then there's like warring over like people that live in St. Pete versus Tampa. I don't know. This is the whole thing. This is not what people signed up for. This is what Florida geography and NBA podcast. You guys came to the right place. Let's see here. So yeah, I just think that the Falcons can look to the Hawks, but they could also look within their division to like the turnaround that's happened within the Bucs. And I'm guessing, we don't know yet, but the way that Brady is talking so much trash on social media, that they're going to come with just even more swagger as defending champs than they came in with last year, where we saw like a almost pathetic Brady holding up like four fingers after, like wanting for there to be like a fifth down, even though like they had already, it was like a turnover. That the first part of the Bucs season was just kind of like almost a complete train wreck that made you think that the season was just like lost, and then they turned it around. So, speaking of Brady, and we're a family show, so I won't read the full quote, but basically Tom Brady we're going to play a fun game here called Who Did Brady Troll This Week? By fun game, I mean I just made that name up, so we're pretty even here. But so Brady was on an HBO show called The Shop, which is produced by like LeBron James is part of it, Maverick Carter and his whole crew. And Brady's interviewed, and the clip has just been released. Kelsey's getting love. Exactly. She's the only thing keeping this whole show together. The only thing keeping us from all being homeless.
I just noticed that.
Well, no, everyone's like, how is this even happening? And it's because of Kelsey. So back to Brady. He's on The Shop and basically saying they were like talking about different stories in their careers. And Brady shared a story of his free agent run last offseason. And he was basically saying there was a team interested in him, but at the very end, they're like, no, we're going to stick with our quarterback. And then Brady used some words, was basically like, you guys are going to stick with this guy, like this bum. And so now that has led to internet detectives trying to figure out who exactly Brady was talking about. And I know that you have some theories on this. So what you've seen the clip by now. If you haven't, we have it posted on a website called heavy.com, which we are quite fond of here. So be sure to check that out. But Kelsey, who do you think he was do you have any theories on who you think he might have been talking about?
Who he called the mother. Yes. I think it was Jimmy Garoppolo. Actually, okay, no. I have mixed feelings about it. I think it was Jimmy G to an extent, but then you look back, what if he was just saying it as because Tom Brady jokes. He's a jokester, so he was just like, all right, you're keeping that, whatever. You can't even say it to make it like, it's better when you just say it. I can't say it, I don't think. But when you, yeah. So he could be joking, but because they're both, good friends or whatever, apparently, and they played together. But what was it? Holy cow, the Niners were the only team that were after them, and then they backed out first.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense for it to be Jimmy G. Because
it's confusing, because why would he say, if he was serious about calling him the mother effer, why would he say that after Jimmy G just took a trip to the Super Bowl, and then, they lost, but he still took him there.
I think it's partly because if you watch that Super Bowl, like,
pretty bad.
They were winning. It was rough, and I think Garoppolo struggled, and they kind of won in spite of Garoppolo a lot of games. Just not like. I also think that it's not clear what their relationship's at. This is like Maury Povich type stuff now. I don't know what their relationship. It seems like there was kind of like some weird stuff when they drafted Garoppolo. It seemed like Brady wasn't too keen on it, and then that was kind of partly what led to the Belichick like trading him. There was also some weird stuff with ownership. So I know Seth Wickersham's coming out with a new book in the fall, and they're talking about some of that kind of dynamics. But
was that true that Tom Brady went to Belichick and said he wanted Jimmy G to be traded?
I think all of it's rumors. So that's what I'm saying. I don't get the sense that they're best of friends. So it would make a lot of sense. And also, so part of it why I think it is Jimmy G, as we do our internet detective work here, is Albert Breer on Ryan Russillo's podcast during last season. He was saying basically the whole entire process he laid out was exactly what fits Brady's thing. So Brady expressed interest in joining the Niners. There was mutual interest. The Niners watched film of Brady and said, okay, this guy can still play. We're interested. Now let's go back and watch some of Jimmy G's highlights and see like how does he compare to there? And then they made the decision, you know what, like Garoppolo showed enough last year that we think he could really take the step forward. So we're just going to stick with Jimmy G, which, it makes plenty of sense that you would want a quarterback that has not played more than double-digit games, but once in his career. It makes sense that you would go with that guy over the greatest quarterback of all time. But this is not a 49ers podcast. What do we always say about Kyle Shanahan relationship with Jimmy Garoppolo? Just the massive amount of, even now Lance is like the quarterback, but they're still backing Jimmy G.
Like the most quotable quote: "Find someone who loves you as much as Kyle Shanahan fake loves Jimmy Garoppolo."
Yeah, exactly. So
that's a lot of effort to fake love somebody.
Man, he's been backing Jimmy. They could draft like 4 more, like they could sign 4 more quarterbacks and they would still be backing him. But all that to say is I think it makes the most sense that he's kind of throwing shade at Jimmy G. There's an outside chance that maybe it's the Saints, because I know the Saints, there's a report that came out from Jeff Darlington that the Saints were really close to signing Brady. And then you've got some more love here. I'm just going to keep giving the Mike give you love. There's a report that the Saints were close, but then Breeze decided not to retire. So
Fred's late to the party. Yeah. Okay. So it was Breeze. Who else is no, not Breeze. Who else?
Yeah, it was Saints, because Breeze was going to retire, and then they said no. Then he was like, no, I'm going to come back.
Oh, so it could have been Breeze. What about Derek Carr? Were the Raiders in that? Or no?
They were kind of in there. The Chargers were like the main threat, but the Chargers, I don't think they had a quarterback at that point, because they were about to draft. They were about to. They ended up drafting Herbert, obviously, but that didn't happen at the time. Right.
It's okay, because we'll find out tomorrow, so it doesn't matter. Like, we get one more sleep until we find out who Tom Brady is.
I don't think he's not gonna like go out and say. You think he'll just go out and like? I don't know. He's been trolling like every day a week. He's just trolling like basically just Aaron Rodgers.
He has a big golf tournament coming up, so he wants that attention.
Yeah, true. Well, what probably will happen is he'll say more like vague things, and then we'll do part 2 of our unsolved mysteries section, which goes the new game show. What was the game show title that I creatively came up with? Who did Tom Brady troll today?
Yeah,
something like that. We'll just keep changing the name every week. That'll make it perfect. I feel like our man Fred is here every week, so I appreciate that. I appreciate Fred.
He's a little late.
I appreciate Fred and like our 3 relatives for watching every week. We appreciate all the love as we're trying to build this from the ground up. So.
Oh, and then okay, Flash. Wait, he said Flash was with me from SBR. Okay, Falcons season record. I am hoping. I mean, if I'm dreaming, an 11-6 record would be pretty cool. If Arthur Smith can get us there, but I'm gonna go with 9-8, just because that's more realistic. If I'm throwing money on it, I'm gonna go with 9-8. If I'm not throwing money on it, I'm gonna go with 11-6. Because we have the extra game now, right? Now they're playing.
It's really confusing. We'll have to do a win total episode of the whole division. But is it 9.5 or something like that?
9.5 what?
The win total, they send the win total. Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't know now.
We could just say it's probably we'll just say a number and then someone will correct us. But yeah, it's really confusing because there's that extra game, and so you think like when you're seeing the totals, they're really high for every team, but it's really just because like there's another game baked into it. But there's also some bad teams where it's like it doesn't even seem like there's an extra game, like their win total is like 4, and you're like, there's another game. But so is it 9.5? My man Flash just
Flash, you're the betting guru. What is
it? 9.5? Sounds like that. I think that's what it was.
Okay.
Right. I know Tampa's is pretty high though, because I had a friend that put in the Chiefs Bucs exact Super Bowl matchup before the season. He threw like $10 on it and it won like $350. So those are the kind of odds we need in this life. Yeah.
That's like your whole groceries right there for them.
Exactly. Or like half of a Hawks ticket right now. Either way, same thing.
Half of a Hawks ticket. You get like
the Hawks are like, we haven't had any ticket sales this year. We're gonna make it all up in like 4 games. So more power to them though. Capitalism is amazing, I guess. Kelsey, I wanted to make sure because we were talking about Jimmy G, but his favorite tight end, you just recently had an exclusive chat with. And so I was hoping you could walk myself and our thousands of viewers here through just what the interview was like and kind of some of the things you guys talked about. I know you guys talked a little bit about Atlanta at some point, but I wanted to hear overall kind of what the vibe was from who just seems like an amazing person to chat with, like really fun personality. Oh, yeah. He's very passionate about Skittles, which I can respect. So
so it's not, if you call him Skittles, like he's not going to get offended, which I do all the time. But
fine.
Yeah, I had a interview with him and it was actually a sponsorship with Dick's and Golf Galaxy. Go check them out. I'm not getting paid for that. Go check them out. And anyway, we talked about Father's Day, blah, blah, blah. And then I kind of snuck in some questions. We got into Aaron Rodgers and what is the big golf game coming up? I'm not a golfer, so I'm the last person who should have interviewed him. The big golf
talking
thing
about
with Tom Brady and
it's just called The Match. It's a very creative name.
That was hard.
It's like I can just see the brains like, hey, we're gonna hire a marketing group to come up with a name for this. It was like when the college football playoff came up with the college football playoff name.
Yeah, The Match. Okay, so that went over my head, obviously. Anyways, he's rooting for Aaron Rodgers, which is interesting because Aaron Rodgers was a rumor that the 49ers were interested in him, and they were because Kyle Shanahan came out and said that they tried to go for him the day before the draft, which is crazy, but then they were like, okay, we can't actually do this because I forget why, but it wasn't that important. It was just basically like, no, we're not trading with you. Like, just cut him off. So Anyways, I asked if he had heard anything inside the locker room. He was like, "No, I found out everything like y'all do through Twitter." All right, cool. So from there, we went into I don't really remember where we went through from there, but I somehow got on the topic. I threw in the Falcons, and we talked about Titan University coming up and Kyle Pitts. And he just raved and raved and raved about Kyle Pitts and how he should have been the first number 1 overall draft pick in the 2021 NFL draft. And he was so serious, and then he was like, just for fun. Then he went on Pardon My Take literally 3 or 4 days later and said the same exact thing, but he did not say just for fun. He was so dead serious that Kyle Pitts should have went number 1 overall because of his athleticism. I'm really bad. Words are hard. Either way, whatever. And yeah, so I wrote about it, right? I wrote that interview, and then I get Falcons fans commenting on it like, who cares? Who cares what he has to say? Well, if George Kittle, like literally the league's, if I'm a tight end and George Kittle, arguably the best tight end in the league, was complimenting me, I'm going to run with that, and I'm going to feed off of it. Like, this isn't your mom complimenting you because you are her DNA. This is better than that. So it's important that he said that. I think it's more important than Arthur Smith hyping him up. This guy plays the same position and is already succeeding way beyond a tight end can succeed. And the last thing he had to say about the Falcons offense was, them boys are going to be just fine. And he was talking about Matt Ryan having Hayden Hurst, Calvin Ridley, and, of course, Kyle Pitts to throw to. So that's pretty exciting stuff coming from George Kittle.
Yeah, and I don't know if people haven't noticed, this is June on the calendar, so I don't know what people are expecting versus, like, if you didn't want to read about an exclusive interview with George Kittle versus, like, we can post, we are prone to posting some workout videos and that stuff, I'm pro workout video. There's a lot of people say we're anti-workout video. No, we're very much a pro workout video show. But when you have an exclusive interview with one of the best players in the NFL, you say yes, and then you write about it. And then I'm sure that the majority of our lovely readers got a great kick out of reading it. And it seemed to be very complimentary of the Falcons' chances, and Pitt's, mostly, Pitt's trajectory as like a game changer, which is like, because he was kind of like, the comparison was like, this is why the Falcons selected him 4th, was because he can be a Kittle or a Kelsey or one of those guys.
Mm-hmm. Not me, Travis Kelsey.
Right. Very confusing. Kelsey Kramer, very, very, very long career as an NFL tight end as well. So it's just
easy mistake. But yeah, I thought it was kind of cool, really cool. And by the way, at Titan University, they drink a lot. I mean, he kind of hinted at that.
Wait, okay, so that's what I did want to ask you. I've been seeing this Titan University thing, and it reminds me of like one of those like financial workshops that I see like pop up, like you go and like you carry the money in like envelopes and things. I don't know what I honestly, I'm not even, this is not a bit. Like what is the Titan University that I keep? Can you enlighten myself and our lovely viewers?
So first of all, Tim Tebow wasn't invited.
Okay. So whatever it is, Tim Tebow's not there.
So Tim Tebow wasn't invited. It was actually starters only, and basically the top tight ends in the league were exclusively invited to this tight end university, where they spend, I think, 3 days, the 23rd to the 26th, just exchanging ideas and what they've learned throughout the years. And it's so many veterans. It's Greg Olsen, it's Travis Kelsey, it's George Kittle. Who else would you want to learn from? So they get together and they do that, and then they drink. He didn't come out and say that, but he said it's going to be a really good day for a Bud Light if you're me, but it's going to be a bad day for a Bud Light if you're a Bud Light, which means a lot of Bud Light is going to be drank if you don't understand that phrase.
Right. And I mean, we're in June, so the cardio, it balances out, right? I mean,
yeah. And apparently they're drinking whiskey too, because one of the Atlanta accounts had tweeted a picture of Kyle Pitts at the tight end university with Greg Olsen and Travis Kelce. And Greg Olsen definitely had a old-fashioned in his hand, and I only know that because I'm a huge old-fashioned girl, and I saw that orange slice in there. So
there you go. See, this is the reporting you don't get on Big Cat's podcast. You get breaking news here.
They are in Nash Vegas, living it up, not just learning.
Okay, so that was my follow-up question: is where is tight end university? Now that I know what tight end university is, I think that I have a chance to get invited. I would say like I probably tight end 14, tight end 15.
We should have asked.
If I had to, like, honestly, I'm like right on the verge of a tight end 1. So maybe next. I'd probably the invite. Maybe it was like a COVID thing. They were, just didn't want there be so many people. So I'm expecting our invitations to come next year.
Yeah,
but it was in Nashville.
Nash Vegas.
Okay, there you go. We could have done a live show from Tight End University. Was Kyle Pitts invited?
Yes. Are you serious?
I'm just very confused by this. I'm still stuck on the Tebow thing not getting invited.
So Tebow was not invited because he gave a whole spiel to ESPN, whatever, but
right.
Basically wasn't invited because he's not a tight end yet. He's just Tim Tebow.
Right. Prove it, Tim Tebow.
I want to see that before you come to our prestigious tight end university to drink with us. So come on. But yeah, so pretty cool. Actually, it's really cool. And Hayden Hurst joined him there, which means, and Hayden Hurst wasn't invited last time. Actually, I don't even know if this is the first or second. I think the second. Hayden Hurst was invited this time with Kyle Pitts. So that means he's going to, be good this season too, obviously.
Kelsey, we had one more thing we wanted to get to, unless any sorry, I'm reading some of the comments. Unless any of our lovely fans have any questions they want us to discuss. And then I wanted to end our show with the best thing you've eaten in the last week. So given that we have to stay on brand and talk about food at least some point in our show, I thought that would be fitting. Also because you changed your profile to Chick-fil-A, like a cup in the profile. And so I was going to share, that's just for later. This is a tease here. We'll talk some Southern food here in a minute. But you were informing me, it just seems like the mainstream media, which I guess we're like hashtag mainstream media, but I don't know. Like I said, I think it's just our parents and Fred who's watching our show at this point. But you were telling me that there's just been a lot of just skepticism of the Falcons heading into next year versus a team like the Bucs that seems to be like among the favorites to win the Super Bowl. So maybe you could kind of expand on what you're seeing from the experts. I don't think we would count ourselves as experts, so that we're not like them. We're just one of the people. We're just one of the people.
25 more years.
Right.
John might be dead by then, but I'll be alive. I'm just kidding.
Wow, this really took a turn. We haven't even got to the Southern food part. I haven't even shared my story of like going to Chick-fil-A and like they just keep recognizing my car.
Okay, I just think
it's just a different story.
I just think that we have a lot to be excited about. Yes, there's concerning holes on offense and defense that we need to fill and that we need to figure out. But when you look at who we've got running the show now, it's not that. It's more. It's like a security blanket. Like I'm secure. You watch these videos at practice, and I hear from other reporters who are at the practice, and they're like, "Wow, like Arthur Smith is." Dan Quinn was like a dad, and everyone loves Dan Quinn. You just want to hug him, and I'm just gonna stop there. He's just like.
This almost went to a really weird place. I kind of want you to keep going, but go ahead. Continue.
But Arthur Smith is all right. He wants you to show up, and he wants you to do your job. He's not gonna hold your hand. He's not gonna coddle you when you mess up. He's gonna be like, "You messed up. You go fix it." And he's going to play the best, and he wants to get these guys to play to their best potential. So it's not the same anymore. It's totally different. We can't, as Falcons fans, we need to come together and we need to hype these guys up, because it is when you see that negativity as a player, and these players do read these things and I heard from Kittle, like he knows his Pro Football Focus ranking right now, and he did not want to comment on it. All he said was he wanted to go play good football, but anyways, he's number 2 below Travis Kelce. And yeah, so we have a lot to be excited about between our new weapons that Matt Ryan has to throw to, whatever, and our defense. All right, well, we're probably not going to be number 1, but we could be 13, and that's exciting. With Dean Pease in the mix now, so it's different. It's fresh. It's new. It's not going to be like 2019 or 2020 or even 2017. So yeah, that's what I'm edging on. We're optimistic now until further notice.
I just got the picture that Arthur Smith is coached. Did you ever watch Friday Night Lights?
Yes.
I feel like Arthur Smith, from what you just told me, is basically like Coach Taylor from the show. Maybe that can, I mean, but he still needs a Southern accent.
That's a bit, that's like, that's a huge compliment.
Well, I'm just from what you just said. I'm not saying he is. Well, from Arthur Smith's press conferences, I can never tell if he just had like the worst day of his life or like he's about to like head to like Italy. Like I don't even like it's just I don't know what's happening. Like I mean it's amazing. Like I think if you played like poker with Arthur Smith, like all of us would lose. That's what I've learned in this offseason. Yeah. Am I wrong here?
No, I agree. It's a totally different vibe. I think it's more. It's all right. He's serious about and he's a first-year head coach. He's serious about turning this team around and getting better. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that. I'm running out of sentences.
No, you're fine. We need to get to the important topic at hand, which is what we've eaten this week, which I don't think we need to go into every single meal. But I'm just reflecting on my week as we're like getting rid of. Apparently, I was about to die based on what I've just learned from you. Just predicted my demise, but I realized I'm very stereotypical, like ATLian. It's easier to say that Outcast way than like Atlanta, and because I've eaten at both Chick-fil-A and Waffle House in the last week, so I don't know. Maybe do I need to reevaluate my life choices? Also, yeah. Also, so I don't eat. I've switched recently from just like straight up sweet tea, which basically like will just put me in the hospital by the age of 40. Now I do like a mix of unsweet and sweet. And I'm there frequently. They're like they're the best tea mix. It's just kind of like my jam. And all I want to know, Chick-fil-A, if you're listening, and by the way, like we give you guys so much publicity, just sponsor our show already. This could be like your own segment. Truett, Kathy, get on it. But when are they going to open up around here? Like, I don't know, maybe it's different you're at, but like every Chick-fil-A is closed. And I am a big fan of the curbside situation, but like because I only order the one thing most of the time, I might have a chicken sandwich like once a week, like most people. But like my order gets forgotten, and from time to time, not every time, people are always very nice. I mean, just like brainwashed nice. But like all I want is to just go into the actual building and get my tea and come out, and it would be like a painless experience for everyone. And I also feel bad. I feel bad for the people walking to my car who they have seen for the last 3 straight days. Like this guy cannot even get out of his car to get the tea that he's ordered 4 straight days. This feels very therapeutic. I'm glad I got this off of my chest, but I want to know what you have eaten this week that has been like, what's your best meal of the week? Or it could be an item if it was like.
This is so sad.
Thank you, Fred.
It's definitely Chick-fil-A breakfast. Like, I have so many points. I get a lot of free chicken biscuits. Okay. But you can go inside at the one off of 501 in Conway or Myrtle Beach, basically same thing, by Coastal Carolina. You can go inside, but I don't go inside. I go through the drive-through. So yeah, okay. Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit. I got a coffee actually for the first time there, and the lady, so I pulled up. This actually ruined my week. It ruined not my week, but at least 48 hours. And she handed me the coffee, and she goes, "You look like you need it," and just like stared at me. And I'm holding my coffee, and I'm like, "Thank you." Doesn't say my pleasure, just like stares at me like waits for me to drive away. Didn't hand me my chicken biscuit yet. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, here's your chicken biscuit. I'm sorry, I almost forgot." Like, yeah, I looked that ugly like you. You forgot my chicken biscuit. My looks just like made your brain just. Anyway.
See, Kelsey, I've had the opposite experience where they hand me the bag and they look at me and they're like, "You do not need this," and then they take the bag back. So we're having opposite experiences at Chick-fil-A. So maybe there's a happy medium here.
But you don't even get mad at them.
No, because they're so nice. I mean, I don't know.
So nice.
Yeah, I don't know. But so that segment, have you had anything else that's
I've been eating a lot of turkey sandwiches, so no.
Good. Yeah. See, we do normal stuff too, guys. We're not just like caricatures. We're not some sort of savages. We have the Chick-fil-A wrap sometimes. We have good salads, by the way.
There we go. It actually made me feel better.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but I didn't want,
Honestly,
I don't use conditioner or shampoo myself, so I don't know what the answer is to this.
Honestly, but John did get a haircut today, and I was going to tell you afterwards. Like it looks great. It looks really good.
Thanks. Shout out to the swag shop in Atlanta. You guys should go there if you're in the area. Go ahead.
But no, my hair is honestly, since I came back to the East Coast, it's been so dry, and I'm like a lion. Really, like my hair is just curly. You should see it after the beach. I'll never show it after the beach though, but. I'm using, oh my gosh, what am I using? Oh, this is so bad. It's from Target. There's no scent to it.
I'm part of a game show right now. I would guess if I knew any brands, but I don't. I know Pantene.
There we go. Check it, but I'm not going to. Shoot, I literally just changed it, but I can get back to you on that if you're a curly-headed person too. It helps a little bit, but it's not like life-changing. I need something life-changing for this mane because it's terrible.
See, this is the hard-hitting analysis. We've talked tight end University, we've talked Atlanta Hawks, and we've talked Chick-fil-A. This is an NFC South podcast, guys. This is exactly what you signed up for, and we're glad that you're hanging out. I think we're going to wrap it up. Is there anything, Kelsey, that you'd like to add that we didn't talk about today?
Nothing. I don't think Tebow would drink Bud Lights. I think he'd be drinking
a lot of water.
Water.
Yeah.
Fiji.
Is there anything on the site you're working on that people can, aside from making sure everyone checks out the Kittle article if they haven't already?
No, just go read that Kittle article. I think it's it's cool. It also shows you the sorry, I was reading a comment. It shows you the transition, how hard it is for tight ends to transition into the NFL from the college level because it's so fast paced and they're learning like 10 things at a time. But Kittle also said that Pitts' transition should be a lot easier because he is very skilled. So I go check that out because all the details are in there. You can check it out at Heavy on Falcons, and you'll see it. It's the only obvious Kittle article on the page.
And you can also follow us on social media. There's our handles there. At John D. Adams, at KK. I can never say your handle for me. Like when I pronounce it sounds like I'm saying something.
K Cranes. K Cranes. I should change it because I'm grown now. This was from high school.
We're famous now. You're sticking with it. You can come find us on all the socials, and we'll talk chicken biscuits and the Hawks irrationally. Now that we're all on the bandwagon together, hey Hawks, go get this win. Like let's get 3 more. Let's go to a finals.
No baby.
And the internet's only Hawks podcast will only talk Hawk stuff next time. No, we're going to talk a lot of football here. We're almost to training camp, which we're hoping to do some live stuff from. Hey Falcons, be nice to us. No, we're just kidding. But well, thanks so much, guys. We're going to wrap it up, as I said, and we'll be on here at some point next week. We're trying to get a regular schedule, but the goal is to do it once a week, perhaps once a day during the season. We don't know. The demand is getting out of control right now, so we don't know where this is going to lead. But what's that?
Said everybody wants us, or
so many people want our hair advice and biscuit takes. For Kelsey and Jonathan, we are signing off the 3rd episode of The South's Got Something to Say. Go Bucs.
Good night,
Go
Atlanta.
Falcons. Go
Go
Hawks. Caw-caw.
Okay.
That was my Hawk and Falcon